Welcome everyone to this Writing Part 2 Survey Response Analysis. Before we start, I want to let you know that I will be using the Writing Part 2 Survey Response Tips and Strategies Guide. Now we do have a video about this guide. You can find that in our CELPIP library, Writing Part 2. And down here at the bottom. Now this video will guide you step by step on how to use the guide and the important tips and strategies to remember about writing part 2. So if you'd like to watch that video, I will leave a link to CELPIP Library in the description box. For today, I will just be going over the pages quickly. We need to understand the topic. These are the factors which influence our score. Ideas, vocabulary, survey structure, sentence construction and grammar, and we need to have a complete response. I will be doing all those today. Now about email tone for our survey response. Usually it's never informal, okay? Because we're writing about something important. So usually it's semi-formal and sometimes formal if the survey is conducted maybe by a city organization or the government. Okay, but in most cases it's semi-formal. We'll see the question today. And so this is the survey structure that I will be using. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, so let's read today's survey topic. Your company would like to change its overtime policy. So they want to change something about working overtime policy. Because many complaints about requiring working it and the pay scale. So they want to change it because there have been many complaints. Many workers are complaining about requiring work it. That means that you have to work it. So some employees, they don't want to work it, but they are required to work it. And also the pay scale. So how much you get paid if you work overtime. Okay. So they want to change the overtime policy. Okay. So let's see, it says, so they would like to know which option would make workers work more overtime. Okay. So which option is better to make or to persuade or convince or promote workers to work overtime, okay? So let's look at the options. Option A, higher pay. Well, that's always good. So what does it say? Anyone working overtime would get paid extra per hour. Okay. Double time. Wow. So usual pay is $25 per hour. That is in Canadian standards, okay? I guess it depends on the job, but at this job that we are discussing, and actually $25 an hour is probably the average pay in Canada if you work in construction. In $25 or $26 is an average in construction, or there are many jobs that pay that. That's not a high pay in Canada, okay? Now the minimum wage in Canada, well, at least in my province, Alberta, it's $15 an hour. And $25 an hour, it's a little bit more. Um, and that is usually for construction work or labor work like landscaping. So what I'm saying is $25 an hour is not that much, just so you know, in Canada. And overtime pay would be $50 an hour. Wow, okay. So yes, $50 an hour, that is high pay. And many companies, they pay that if you work overtime. I know for sure. So $50 an hour, that is much higher. And yes, it's definitely a good reason to work overtime. It says here, but only 2 hours max. So you can work overtime and get paid $50 an hour, but only 2 hours. Okay, well, that's not bad. That's not bad still. So this is one of the options. So if you choose to work overtime, you would get paid double time. And double time, it's a good pay rate, okay? So now what about option B? Option B says optional overtime. So this means that it says here, overtime will not be mandatory for everyone. Mandatory. So it will not be required. So you don't have to work it. And I know that many people don't like to work overtime. So it's not mandatory. So you don't have to work it. But you can if you want to. Optional. So it says here workers can choose when they would like to stay for overtime. Okay. And those who work overtime can work a maximum of 5 hours. Okay. So if you decide to work overtime, then you can work up to 5 hours extra. Wow. But I think the pay rate will be the same, $25 an hour. And I guess over here, you can work only 2 hours, but get paid $50 an hour. Hmm. So over here, 5 hours, 25. I guess that's 125. And here it's only $100. Okay, everyone, let me just tell you again that that is not high for Canada. I don't want you to think, wow, everybody in Canada is rich. No. I mean, it's a good pay. It's a good payment, $25 an hour. But let's remember the minimum wage is $15 an hour. And usually people who work in a restaurant or at a retail job, they get paid $15 an hour. That job is easy. And then if you work in construction, it's more difficult, right? So that's why you get paid more. And other kinds of jobs. Okay, so which option is better? Both of them have good reasons. Okay. So now let's remember that when we choose the option, of course, you should choose whatever you have more ideas for, whatever you think you can explain better. That is good. But let's remember that there is no wrong choice. Okay? And you should choose the one that you think is better for you. Okay. All right. So now let me tell you that I am following our survey structure. This is the survey structure that we usually encourage everyone to use. Okay. And in general, the survey structure, you can see here, if you want to pause it, it gives you an idea for structuring your paragraphs and what you should do in each paragraph. And it provides some really good words or phrases that we can use for sequencing. For each paragraph, how we can connect and sequence. This is very important to give your email some very good structure. So I'm going to be using these words over here. Okay. All right. So let's start. Okay. Also, please remember that I am writing at a CLB 5-6 level. Okay. And that means that the CLB 5-6 student, they should understand all the words and expressions and grammar that I'm using. Okay? I'm not going to use very high level grammar structures nor high level vocabulary because that's not CLB 5-6. And actually, this question is not so important for CLB 5-6. Okay? All we want to do is provide an answer, a simple answer, giving your opinion. I will analyze a little bit more about what I mean at the end, okay? But for now, CLB 5-6, the most important is that you should understand everything that I'm going to write, okay? And I'll explain it as I go. Okay, so we start with who you're writing. This is to our company. So, dear management, to start, I'm so grateful to be part of this overtime survey for our company. So, where am I getting these words to start? I'm so grateful. Well, this is my structure. These words we can use for any survey response. And again, I'm just getting those from my structure. To start, I'm so grateful to be part. You see, it says there. Okay. Okay. So, overtime survey for our company is for our company. Now, which option I choose, okay? In my opinion, option B would be much more beneficial for our employees' working schedules. Okay, now again, this blue is the structure. I said which option, so I chose optional overtime. So I could say for our employees, I don't really need to say working schedules, but I'll just leave it there for now. So there you go. So again, who I'm writing to, the company, and which option I choose. Okay. So now I should get to my first reason, my first idea. Okay. How can I start? Okay. First and most importantly, I believe this option can give more free time for workers to spend with their families. Okay, so again, I'm connecting with my structure. Now let's look at my grammar here. It says can give. Okay, so we can say many things there. We can say gives, just this option gives. I'm not going to change it right now, but I'm just letting you know that what I'm using. Okay. So, or will give. Mhm. I can put that there. I can put, well, again, I can put here gives. That's general. Very, well, more basic, just present simple. Or I can put will give. That's also good. Okay. Just I'll leave what I have here for now because I've already got it here. Okay. So can give is also good. So more free time. Yes, workers need free time to spend with their families. Okay. So that's my first idea. Sounds good. Maybe I can give an example. We should always try. For example, workers have to spend time with their children. Right. Or we can put there's some workers too. Workers have to spend or need to spend. We can put need to here. Need to. Need to. Yep, we can put need to. Or we can put should. So that part is very important. And actually, in my class, we were discussing using modals, okay? Can, have to, need to. These are called modals, okay? And we were studying about using modals. For level 5, 6, it's not so important, okay? But if you can use modals, that's great. Have to, need to, okay? So now let me explain a little bit. Let me explain one more sentence here to explain. Just connect to the topic. So employees don't have to work overtime because it is optional. According to this option that we have, it says here optional overtime. So employees don't have to work overtime. Okay? So it says here, in this reason, they need more time to spend with their families, to spend time with their children, and they don't have to work overtime because it's optional. Okay, so that was a good connection there. Okay, so now let's get to the second reason. Second reason. Another important reason is that workers can choose to work overtime if they need to. Okay, so again, remember this option B is optional. So they can choose to work, can choose. Okay, if they need to. If they need to. So we're using an if clause here. If clause. If they need to. Okay. Okay. All right. So now maybe give an example. Let's try to give an example here. Always for level 5, 6, we should follow this pattern. Idea, example, explanation. That's what it says in our guide. Idea, example, explanation. Okay? Here it uses some stronger words, but that's okay. We don't need those. Okay? So, for example, sometimes people have more bills, so they must earn more money. Okay, again, here I'm giving an example of sometimes people have more bills, right? Bills to pay. There's the utilities bills, there's the groceries, car insurance, etc. So they must earn. Okay, so here I put must earn. First, earn means make, for make money. You can put must make, you can put that, or must earn. Also, must, it's another modal that we were studying. So, must, but we can also put here need to. We can put need to. So, they need to earn more money. Same meaning. Just giving you more examples that you can use. Okay. Okay, or you can put should as well. You can put should. Should. What is the difference? Well, must means is very, very strong. Like they must. You have more bills to pay, so you must earn or make more money. Okay, so then we gave an example. That's true. And now let's explain back to the topic. Therefore. So this therefore, it's the same meaning as so. Same meaning as so. We can put so here. There's not a problem. For 5, 6, there's not a problem to put so again. You can put so. I'm just giving you another word that you can use, okay? Therefore, it will be good if they can work overtime. Okay, so we're talking about workers here. Sometimes they have more bills, it says, so they must earn more money. Therefore, it will be good if workers, they means workers, can work overtime. So they have the choice. Let's remember, here they can choose to work overtime because it's optional. Okay? So if you have more bills, first you need to spend time with your families. So you can choose to do that. But maybe sometimes you need more money, so you can choose to do that. Great. That sounds really good. Okay, so now we're going to get to our closing part. First, say your opinion again. Overall, I strongly support the idea of optional overtime because I don't think workers should work overtime if they don't want to. Okay, all right, so first, the idea again, these words in blue, this is my structure or sequence that I am getting from my guide. Overall, I strongly support the idea of. Okay, that's where it's coming from. Optional overtime, it's from over here, optional overtime. That was the option. Because I don't think, this is my opinion, workers should work overtime. So I don't think they should work overtime. Actually, it would be okay to just finish there. If they don't want to, if clauses, if these are conditionals, if. So if they don't want to, they don't have to work overtime. That's what it means. So that's why I support option B, optional overtime. Okay, and then lastly, my signature or the last point. Again, this is from our structure. Thank you for your attention, and I hope my opinion will be of value to you. Sincerely, first and last name. Okay. Well, again, these ones I'm just getting from here, just from our structure. And how many words are here? Hmm. Well, it doesn't say, but I remember that it was 145, 145 or 148. So I think it was like 147. So about that. So first of all, if you can write this example the way it is, maybe you can get 7, even 7. Okay. It's not, it says to write 150 to 200 words, but the truth is for level 5, 6, even if you can write 125 words, you can get 5. That's not the problem. It's not about the words. The problem is if you write 125 words with many grammar mistakes. Also, if the meaning, if it's not clear, your expression or your ideas, if they are not clear with many grammar mistakes, with many punctuation mistakes, with lots of and the email is not well constructed, and you write 125 words, that's not 5. But if you write 125, 130 words, and it's well constructed, and the meaning is very clear, the expression is clear, some, maybe with some grammar mistakes, not very simple ones, that's 5 to 6 for sure. Okay? So it's not really about, for level 5, 6, for part 2, it's not exactly about how many words you write. Okay? So the most important is to first have a really good structure to your email. Second, make the meaning very clear as you can. And lastly, give some ideas. Maybe even one idea is okay. And lastly, your sentence structure should be it shouldn't have so many simple errors, and it should be a little bit, well, it should be clear. Okay. So then again, we only wrote 147 words. This for sure is 6 or maybe even 7. Now, again, what I said earlier, CLB 5-6, you should understand everything we wrote. You should. And a good way for you to practice would be to read this email, I would say 5 to 6 times, and then type it. Type it so you can develop that ability to type this way, okay? It's important. Okay, that would be a good way for you to practice. Okay, now I mentioned earlier about the grammar. I also think that this grammar here, the main grammar forms using modals, that is something that is more CLB 6, using must or can choose, have to, need to, should. This is more level 6. Like I said, over here, for example, you can use gives, okay? And have to, we can use need to. Level 5 uses more simple grammar, okay? But I strongly recommend that you should have knowledge of these modals, they are called. Can give, have to, need to, must. So I will leave from our library. We have some grammar practice. And for example, about modals, must, have to, need to. I will leave this link down here for you to read from one of our samples here. And there's also some practice exercises where you can practice by writing sentences, which is really good to develop your writing. Okay, you can follow the instructions. All you need to do is write the sentence in here. It's late. I must go now. Okay. Number 2, for example, you just write it in. It's late. I must go now. That's where we're practicing here. We go according. We write our sentences in here. More there, and then afterwards you can check your answers. You got only 3%, and we need to get 70%. But you can also review the answers there, which ones are correct. So I will leave a link on there for you to practice your grammar, and sentence structure, which is very important for this level. Okay, everyone, let's practice. I would like to remind you that if you're looking for some more listening, reading, writing, or speaking CELPIP exam practice, then you should definitely subscribe to our CELPIP library. The CELPIP library has hundreds of examples of listening, reading, writing, and speaking, which will help you develop your score, whatever the score you need. Also, the library contains vocabulary, listening skills, reading skills, grammar, and writing skills exercises, which will really help you improve your general understanding of English and also for the exam. So, and you can purchase a 1 month pass or a 2 month or a 3 month subscription for a very low price. And of course, if you really enjoyed this content, then please like this video, share it, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way we will keep on producing more CELPIP analysis for your development. Have a great day.